What's up, beautiful people? This is Fearfully Fit Podcast, and my goal for you is to develop a healthy mind, body, and spirit. I'm going to be sharing with you an in-depth look into how I lost over 100 pounds and had a total life transformation. I want you to be fit in all aspects of your life because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. What's up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Fearfully Fit Podcast. I'm here with the lovely ladies, my tribe. How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, we're doing good.
So who's here is Kendra, Jessica, and Ruthie, and we're going to do a better introduction later. But first, I want to start off with a question just to get the conversation rolling, get us comfortable with speaking. So I usually do a would you rather question, but I'm going to do a one gotta go. So that means only you would have to give up the other options forever. Okay? So one gotta go. Books, television, and music.
Books.
You would never read again?
Never read.
Dang.
I love television because I love my ratchet TV. And music is life. Like, I do music all the time with everything, so I could never live without music.
I would have to say television. Books are life. Music is life. I feel like a world without books, we're dead.
Wow, that was deep.
Yeah, so I feel like the right answer is that TV has to go, but my honest answer would be books has to go. I don't even watch TV that often, but I feel like
If you didn't have it, you would feel it.
Yeah.
I would probably get rid of TV too. Because I read so often and I need music when I'm working out. And I work out all the time. So if I didn't have music, that would suck. So mine would be TV. But it would be so much open space. But yeah, mine would be TV too.
Well, how about this? If you had subtitles with your TV, does that count as reading?
No.
Yes.
You can't get it. You can't go around
Still
it.
reading.
Subtitles don't work.
Okay.
Dang, okay. All right, so this episode, it's continuing on with relational health and the purpose of a tribe and the importance of it and how we met and what we mean to each other and all that good stuff. And so we met at Pandora, the jewelry store. How long ago was that?
10 years?
Yeah.
Dang, it's been 10 years?
I do.
Oh my God, I didn't know it was that long ago. Wow, we got some time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We're like real
I think
friends.
it's 10 years on the
years.
map. Yep. I think 10 years.
2010.
Wow, we're real friends. But I think you got Ruthie and Jessica knew each other a little bit beforehand,
From
right?
college.
From college.
At Hofstra.
Wow, and then one
We
by
got
one.
closer with Pandora.
Yeah.
Yes, and look at us 10 years later. I didn't know it was so long. That's beautiful. So the definition of a tribe, I looked it up. It says it is a group of people or a community with similar values or interests, a group with a common ancestor or a common leader. And I was like, well, who's our common leader? And I feel like God, right? That's what I thought too.
On the mainland.
Yes.
Tell 'em what
That was
you
my
want.
first thought too. And I was like, that's definitely an aspect that makes us so close and connected. Who thought of tribe? I feel like it was Ruthie.
I don't know, but you know what's so funny? It's important to say that like we didn't start off as a tribe. So we started off as friends.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I mean? Like that tribe thing really happens over. I mean, it happened very shortly, but it happened over time. I think almost as our relationship in Christ grew, we became a tribe, which is crazy to think back on it.
Yes.
Because we started off as friends, we were not a tribe.
Yeah, and we were a bigger group of friends. It wasn't just us.
Yeah.
There was a couple other people, and then sort of like other people tapered away, and we just started to get closer. And
then there
like
were
you
four.
said,
And
then
there
there
were
were four.
Oh,
And
that's so
like you said, as
beautiful.
our relationship with God grew, we grew closer together.
Yeah.
But I also think we bonded with one another too on separate occasions.
Yes.
You know, and that grew us also as a unit. Because it was me and you and her, me and her. You know, so I think with that also strengthened the foundation because we like actually knew each other.
Yeah.
You know, so we could always pick up where we left off.
Yes. Nice. Oh, that's
We've been
beautiful.
through so many phases of life together.
Yes.
Funny enough,
wow. I was
right?
thinking about that as you were giving me, because y'all, I'm sitting in Kendra's whole house.
Well, praise God.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus. She got her own house, y'all, with her husband.
With her husband.
and she was giving me a tour, and we really have. Wow.
So crazy. Like, we met as college students.
Oh, we got some miles on us.
Yeah, we've gained degrees, we've gained husbands, we've gained sororities, we've gained homes, we've gained so much.
Finances, praise God.
Hello.
Moving from Pandora.
Yes. I was trying to think of what makes us a tribe, at least in my mind. And intentional kept coming to my mind because I feel like we're very intentional friends.
Yes, we are.
I'm actually the more intentional with you guys than I am anybody else. Just every time we meet,
I agree.
It's like so purposeful.
Yes. And people know. Like, I be like, listen, I need my Pandora girls. Like, my other group of friends know. Like, my family, they know.
Yeah.
And when I refer to you, it's like, my Pandora girl.
Yeah.
I agree.
And we don't let too much time go by either without us getting a date on the calendar.
Yeah.
And I'll move stuff around. We'll all, like, finagle to make sure.
I think which is what makes it different. We all have friends, outside friends, but there's something like... There's nothing like, I should say, a sisterhood. And then also the other word that comes to mind is like accountability.
Yeah.
Like, we don't play with each other. Like, we're not here to make each other feel good. We're not here. We're here to uplift each other, to encourage each other. But if you need to hear the real, we're gonna hear it from one of us.
Right?
Growth comes to mind.
Yes.
Because if you're not growing, you literally die. And I feel like we've all been part of each other's growth, whether it be in godly counsel, finance, life, relationships, whatever it is. We've all grown and help each other to grow because, you know, we're dealing from experience. And plus, we've traveled together. If you can travel with a group of girls and come out and still be friends, Lord knows we was meant to be.
So, and just going off the intentional thing, not saying that my other friends are not intentional with them, but I feel like my other friends, like, they just play different parts.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's also important you have friends that you just, you know, you kind of have fun with.
Yeah.
And then you have the friend maybe just I have a certain friend who we don't hang out often, but she calls me all the time just to talk to me to, like, offload type of thing. And then I have, you know, my intention where I want to go to specifically searching for something.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's good to have a variety.
Yeah.
Can I share something that a teacher shared with me many years ago? That, like, we all have different friends in life. And you're right. There are your party friends. There are your friends who... And then she described two things. She described people that you need in life and then people that need you in life. And then there comes a relationship where it's equal, that you need them as much as they need you. And to me, that reminds me of a tribe.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it's equal.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have so
that
many
was a good-
friends that it's like, you know what, let's party, let's hang out, let's talk. And I'm the one that... Or we're the ones that are leaning in to help them or to pull them up or to pour into them or just to have a good time and smile in their face. And then there are people who we look up to that they do that for us. And then there are the selected few that it's like a pour in, pour out relationship. And that reminds me of a tribe.
Yeah, because it's more long lasting, right? Because in the example you gave, it's like at some point someone's going to get tired, right? So it's like, you're either pouring into someone and you're going to get tired, or someone's pouring into you and they're going to get tired, and then the relationship at some point is not going to last. But here, it's like we all pick up. One day, Ruthie's like, when are we meeting? One day it's Summer. One day it's me. One day it's going to... Like, we're all holding each other accountable. We're all intentional about this relationship.
I remember something that comes to mind. We were sitting in a car. This is before... Jessica and Kendra got married and everyone was just dating, and I was like, wow, we're all trying to be celibate. It was, I don't know, it just seems so amazing to me that I had like a group of friends that were all actively trying. Yes. I thought that was so amazing. Like to have that common goal. I've never experienced that before. Not just saying like the celibacy thing, but just to have a group of people that something so important in my life that we each had like that same and you know, that same common goal to it.
I think it's important that, you know, because we're spiritual and we're religious, I think it's important we know that, you know, what happens in the spiritual versus what happens in the natural. And it feels like we're moving in the same space. We're like extensions of each other. So when we're like all in a good space, we're all celibate, and when one slacks, we all pick that person up. You know what I mean? So it's nice to have not only the accountability, but it's nice to be vulnerable in that space and not to be judged. You know, because y'all have never judged me. Because I've had friends like, didn't you say you was not having sex? And you let him hit it? What? You weak, girl. You might as well just stop that. And And then coming to y'all like, listen, then you're not a woman of God like you say you are. So maybe you need to check that.
Right.
And that's what I needed to hear. Not like just give up.
Right.
But like there was one time at Jessica's where we were doing our thing that we do every year, and you were like, you look bound. And I never forget that day, because I really was. And I had to find, and then Jess gave me that book by Sherry Shepherd, and I was like,
What's the book called?
it's called Love Letters from Her King, and it's basically hearing God's voice in a love letter to you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I have you know that I have gifted that book to other people who are on there. And I was like, if it wasn't for this girl, like, I want to be this bold in my love for Christ and understanding that the affirmation that I felt, like, to be, like, okay with not having sex, to keep a man, was from being told, like, what you doing? You could do it. Because we did it. And then to see the end result, that it's possible, girl.
Yes.
So important. You know what I think of? We didn't meet as spiritual friends. When you meet people in church, there is this thing that happens where sometimes you cannot connect in flesh because you met them in this place. And there's this standard, whether it is put on you on purpose or whether it just happens because you met in this place. We did not meet in church, and our relationship with Christ has all grown differently at different speeds, in the same direction, Ruth, but at different speeds. So there's this realness that we could say, girl, you know what? I've been there. Girl, like, I fell down, and girl, I did this. And it's so... And then there's this understanding of, I've been there too.
Right.
When you meet folks in church, or even when you, I'm going to switch to flip. When you meet folks in church, sometimes you can't relate on that level just because maybe you feel like, I don't know, I just can't go there with that person.
Right.
Or that person won't understand. Or that person is so good at doing what they're doing that they can't relate to me.
Right.
Or, like you were saying, Ruth, I've had friends that I've said, you know what, me and Armel are going to go celibate and we're not going to have sex. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And I will you don't forget those things. I will never forget that friend, that moment, and what that moment did to me and that friend and our friendship. So to be able to talk to, it's so special to have a tribe.
It's so rare.
To be able to talk to a group of friends and you're like, all right, this is the direction that I'm heading in. Whether that person is there or not, because they know it's a standard from God, they're rooting for you.
Yeah, it's like looking at yourself.
Yes.
Oh, that was
Don't make me cry.
Yes,
Because that means that I'm extra fly.
You better go there, girl.
Yeah, it's very rare that I find people I can relate to in the natural and spiritual. It's like either I'll have my church friends who it's this really surface level type of thing, and you know, it's thank you, Jesus, praise the Lord. And then I'll have my natural friend where they can't really give me nothing spiritual. They're just like, I'll go out and have a good time. But to have the both, that's amazing.
It's amazing. And then when your families, like, you guys are family, but then my family considers you guys family too. Like, I'm going to the girls, you know, like, or I'll tell Joe, like, I'm going to see, oh, you going to see the girl. Like, it's like you guys are a part of my life.
Yeah.
It's understood.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I remember Jessica, she was vegan. Well, she's whatever. She was at the time. At the time, she was vegan, and she came to my graduation celebration. And so she wasn't really eating because there wasn't really vegan options. And my dad was so confused and concerned. And he was like, why isn't she eating? What's wrong with her? Is she okay? But I thought it was just so beautiful, just him caring. But I thought that was so funny. But yes, we are like, we're all just family. And so that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
What roles do you think we play? Like, if we had our own sitcom,
That's
what characters would we be? Like, our personality, like, who are we? I don't know. Living Single is the only one that comes to mind to compare
Girlfriend.
to. Oh, yeah, Girlfriend.
Sex and the City is a really good one.
Okay, let's do Sex and the City. Who are we?
Sex and the City might not be a good one.
Okay. Wait, who wants to be Samantha?
That would so be me.
That's funny.
That would be me. Because y'all know I'd be like, about that. In marriage, of course. And who'd y'all be?
I feel like I feel like I'm kind of Charlotte.
You think so?
Really? I don't know. Because I feel like, I don't know. You guys tell me.
You convert to Judaism.
There is
Charlotte.
She's the one who converted for her husband,
Miranda.
right?
Yeah, Charlotte, Miranda, Carrie,
And Samantha.
Am I Miranda?
So who's Summer?
Are you?
Summer, I feel like is usually the easiest one to figure out.
Yeah, she
always
is.
is.
But I don't feel like any of them.
I don't know if this is a good
Okay,
show.
so switch.
Yeah.
What about Girlfriends?
Girlfriends may be more relatable.
So there's
You're
Joan.
definitely Lynn.
Yeah,
She is Lynn.
Oh, I am Lynn.
I feel like I'm Tony.
This is Ruthie. Ruthie's saying
Yes,
she's Tony.
Tony's the bougie one.
Tony's the bougie one, but she's also
She's
the one.
she's the one who
She can get
she's the one who's dating the white guy.
Yes. Which
She
I
a
saw would
lawyer?
do. Yes.
No, she's not.
No, she's not a lawyer. She's a real estate
Joan
agent.
she's a real estate agent. So she's like hardworking. Okay, and then there's
And sometimes she has really
Joan
appropriate
and
questions.
then
Like I do.
Maya.
But you're kind of
you're
Maya.
I feel like you're Maya.
Yes,
Like
kinda Maya.
hood.
Yeah.
Maya's like she the hood one. She's Joan's
Yes.
assistant.
Yes.
Okay, that's
And she's
And she
ghetto
gets busted.
bedless.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that is okay.
That'd be me. That'd be me.
But yeah, I don't
So then
know.
who's Tony?
And Jones.
Joan's a lawyer.
Yeah.
She's like very like.
I'd be like
You know,
a cross between you two.
She doesn't really go outside the box. Real like just like
Like she has
very
excellent taste.
Yes, excellent.
It's hard because
taste.
Kendra and Jessica are a lot alike.
Yeah, so I think I would share Joan.
Okay.
Joan like
And who's the other
qualities.
girl again?
Tony.
And Tony's the super bougie one. She's like, I can't date him. Like he's poor.
That's why I said that would be me, because I would say something like that. Like, run his FICO score, please. So that I think so. I think we should do that movie Girls Trip. Their characters.
my God.
Because I think that
I forgot
identifies.
their names
Review the
though.
movie really quick because you know my memory is not good.
I forget their names.
There's Queen Latifah. There's
don't
Jada.
Okay. Yeah, I
There's
don't remember
Tiffany
their
Haddish.
movie names.
There's Tiffany Haddish. You're definitely Tiffany Haddish.
There's
Latifah's
Tiffany,
cast.
Jada,
Cracking up.
Queen Latifah, and
Regina Hall.
Regina Hall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I feel like
I don't know. I always feel like
Regina was very serious.
she's very serious.
But what was her situation? She like her.
So she was dating. Her husband was cheating on her, and like.
I
Well, not
don't
really
wanna
cheating
claim
on her.
that.
Yeah. It's like we don't want to claim that, but they sort of had like this arrangement or
It was
whatever.
all, like,
it was all for
Oh,
stuff.
and we was in the
Yeah.
movie, y'all.
Yes, we were definitely in Girls Trip.
We was in the movie
Yeah, but we
while
weren't
they were
seen in the
shooting.
movie.
Yo,
We
you
weren't
can't
seen
see
in
us,
the
but
movie.
that's not the
You
point.
will
We
not
was
see
up
us.
in there. We was in the
We
back.
was there.
Definitely, there's extras.
When next time you see the movie, in the scene where Jada and who's the other one?
And
Who
the
came?
auditorium.
Yes.
No, they're not on the stage.
They're in the
Regina's on
auditorium.
stage, and they
Yeah.
come in the back.
Yes, and they
In the
came
back.
through the back
Jacket.
during the
Yeah, with
Essence
the
Fest. We
jacket.
was
In
right
New
there in the
Orleans.
crowd, and we
Right.
had to turn around and look. We got directions and everything. We had to turn around and look.
Guys,
movie
you will not see
debut.
us on camera.
You won't see us, but we were there. Just know that.
If you zoom in real good.
Who's there? Okay, so then who are we just... What are our roles in real life?
So Summer, I would have to say you are definitely the lighthearted, free spirit,
Yes.
brings light and joy to every situation.
Even when you're just
that's
smiling.
beautiful. I'll take it.
And also very like, okay, Summer asks random questions like out of nowhere. It's like, okay,
My
that's
family calls me a
definitely
blonde.
yes, definitely a blonde. Lots of blonde moments.
I feel like your name is so
Fitting.
connected to who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're such a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
And you make every situation light.
Yes.
Yes.
With whatever it is, whether it be a joke, whether it be like a random comment, whether it has nothing to do with what we're talking about,
Right.
or whether it just, I don't know, it's funny. You are, your name is so fitting. Your mom
Yeah.
and your parents did a good job with
Yeah.
that.
And even when it's a serious situation, it's like we may be in tears, and then here
Summer
comes
comes.
Summer.
And she saves the moment.
Right.
Oh, that was nice, guys.
Ruthie is also a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, she
very
is.
positive.
Yeah.
She's definitely the supporter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's the
We'll
hype,
support
hype
anything
man.
that you do.
Yes, she's
For
the hype
sure.
man. She's like, you fat? You was not fat. You was in there 500 pounds. She like, girl, please. You was not fat. You better wear that.
You better wear that dress.
Right, wear that belly
You better wear
shirt.
that crop top.
And then she would order one for herself. This was great.
Also, spender, big spender.
Oh, yeah.
Big spender.
Yes.
I'll say Jessica is... she's definitely always, I felt like, my big sister role. I go to her a lot when I just need, like, some reality strategic moves. I feel like she's great with that. And like she's very well, actually all three of them are very, very bougie in their own way. But so yeah, she's bougie too, but just high quality everything. I don't know. Every time I think of Jessica, I just think of just high quality, and I just mean in all aspects.
Very grounding.
Yes.
Very grounding person.
I would say because she is my sister. It was such a wonderful, like, it came full circle to me because it's been a dream of mine. And I felt like...
What's been a dream of yours?
To become a Delta.
Okay.
Becoming part of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Delta's in the building.
Yes. And I think it came full circle for me because it was something that I prayed on. And God does not forget your dreams, even though you may. And... It was
a good teacher.
That is a very good.
And I felt like she always knew that was like my thing. And when she knew the time was right, like she's like, girl, it's time. And I just felt like no one else would have done that.
And Jessica, you guys, Jessica's Delta too.
And I think, you know, that's the type of person she is. Like, she may have a lot of things going on, but she will check in. She will make sure you're good. And she's always in tune with, you know, where we are as a person. So she does have a very nurturing spirit, which I appreciate. And I mean, we all do to a certain extent. That's why we're like an extension of one another. But I feel like that older sister vibe, even though I think I'm the oldest, I know I'm the oldest, you know, especially in my spiritual walk, you guys I was a babe in Christ, you know, you guys like fostered that. So I think, that's the thing I pulled from everybody because I did not grow up as, you know, I grew up Catholic. So it's very different for me, like my relationship and how I was relational with God. So I think that helped bring it full circle. So I feel like with Jess, and she's very like steadfast in her faith. You know what I mean? And I always appreciated that. I was like, I want to be like Jessica. like she'd be like, nah, girl, he ain't a man of God. That ain't in the Bible.
Right.
Like,
And she'll back it up with the word.
Yo, I'd be like, all right, girl, I'll get back to you. Let me pray on this one. You know? But sometimes you need that. You know, you can't be, and, you know, Kendra is very like, I'm not finna satisfy your flesh, homie. Like, this is... And I was like, she just ripped the Band-Aid off. I'm like, you don't even count, yo. Like, you gotta count to 3. She just ripped it off, you know? So, and I appreciate that. I appreciate her brevity because sometimes your soul's too precious for time wasted.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate that she's also lighthearted. And
you talking about Kendra? Or?
I'm talking about Kendra.
Okay.
I switched to Kendra.
Wait, very quickly before we tap in, I do want to say Jessica is so grounded and so loyal. Jeez Louise.
Yes.
Not only to us, but to everything. Like, she is loyal. The only way that I could describe it is loyalty.
Yeah.
Will always, always, always be there. And not many people will always, always, always be there.
And that's why you have to feel like you always got to be there for her.
Of course.
Because it's like, Jess will be here. So I got to be there.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's the truth.
So now it's Kendra's turn.
Yeah, you go.
Oh,
Go.
I'm a little scared.
Oh, man. Y'all gonna make me cry up in here.
That's okay. Let it out.
So Kendra is, like you said, very lighthearted. It's sort of like a breath of fresh air, but also like this strong gust of wind that's like subtle though. You know,
It's inviting.
Like, it is inviting, and it's like you do a very good job in articulating what it is that you want to say and doing it in such a loving way. You're my girl. You're my girl. We share decor ideas, and like you are also another reflection of myself. And it's so crazy because we didn't talk about this, but like we have such a difference in age, but you would never know.
Yeah, that's
you would never
so
know.
true.
It's like we click on levels that I don't click with anyone else. So you are my girl.
Yes, Kendra is very sure.
Jesus, I love that word.
It's so something that I always pray about. Even when I know the information, for some reason I have a tendency to be very timid about it. But you're very strong in every statement that you make and everything that you do. Is just so it's so strong. and sure about it. And I love that.
And then I want to say one thing. And it's even like knowing you, and even when you're not sure about something, it's like you never let anybody know that. Mm-hmm. You know, and so there's just this confidence of like, even if I'm not sure, we going with it. And we going to be confident with this decision. And we just going to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. You'll make up something on the fly. And you would never you would think that you done planned it for mad long, done wrote out a plan.
Then executed.
Yeah, just everything you do is just, it seems like it's with such confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
And I love that you're relatable. You know, like at my birthday celebration, all my friends were like, oh my God, she's like so pretty. And then they were stalking your IG page. They're like, oh my God, her husband's so gorgeous. They're just so beautiful. Aww. And I was like, but they like that in real life though. Mm-hmm. You know, because there's people who put on a facade like they one way, but y'all like this in real life.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd be proud to be like, yeah, that's my girl. That's how she's doing it. And that's Kendra, that's Jessica, that's Summer. You know, it's nice and it's refreshing to be able to for your personality to line up with your character, to line up with your spirit. Yeah. Like, and you don't find that in many people. So it is a blessing. Mm-hmm. Because friendship, you know, sometimes you can count your inner circle. Yeah. You know, and you have to count on your inner circle. Because that's another thing. Because there's a lot of people that I've learned through y'all that I do not share things with because you cannot do anything for me in the way of like, in the way of prayer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just going, I don't know what it is, but it's like speaking to a wall. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why bother? You know, I've learned to, because I'm very open, so I've learned to kind of scale that back and know who to talk to, because I know your intent and I know where your heart is and where your intentions lie. Because we're intentional, we know the information that we feed each other not only stays between us, but there's no envy, there's no jealousy. It's like, yo, I need to make sure that when, you know, I'm picking this, I gotta call Jess, I gotta call Kendra, I'm thinking about working out, let me call Summer. There's no like, there's not a spirit of ugliness, you know, like hidden ugliness where you're secretly like wanting something, you know, what other people, you're like, I don't feel right when she's in my home. I don't feel right. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
very
you know
safe.
what I was gonna say? The reason why I fell in love with my husband, Armel, is because there is not one thing that I can tell Armel that he will be surprised about. I can tell Armel the ugliest part of me, the ugliest part of my family, and he's just like, okay. It's not the end of the world. And with the tribe and with you three, there is not anyone else. I'm not going to even say many. Let me be specific. Outside of you three, I know that I can say whatever I need to say, however ugly it is, and whether or not it is a first instant, you are going to see my heart. And you are not going to make a big deal about what I say. And I think that also comes with knowing God. Right? So it's like, I'm not judging you based on what your parents do, what your sister do, what your father do, what your brother do, what your whoever, whatever, what your job or what situation you have to be in because of the circumstances that you were in, because I know the God that you serve, and I know the God that I serve, and I know that it's beyond you. So there's such a comforting feeling that when you talk to people who know God, it's like, oh, God got it. And then it's like, dang, I just lifted this burden off of me because I shared something so heavy that I can't control, but because you know my God, you did not name me or label me that burden. That is huge. So that same quality that I married is what you guys have. That I could tell you my burden and it's not a label on me. It's like, oh, okay, girl, we're gonna pray. Okay, girl, we're gonna touch you. Okay, girl, that happened to me and your family member. Okay, girl, we could connect on that so many levels. And it's not like, oh, wow, did you just say that out loud?
And
how you gonna handle it?
And we've never been too far. Like like you said, we were all on different spiritual levels when we met each other, but we've never been too far ahead. One of us has never been too far ahead where we couldn't reach back. Right? It's like we're inching together, so we're still we're relatable. You know, we're relatable. It's like, okay, well, one person's struggling, that's okay. I was there 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're so relatable, and I'm just so like, this is such a God ordained relationship, and it's apparent in so many different ways.
And that's another thing. We've also been in each other's place of worship.
Yeah.
And can share, like, can honestly feel comfortable in those spaces. And, you know, sometimes you're like when I go to Kendra's church, like my church, we use like our phones or tablets. And then your church, I remember one of the sisters brought me over a Bible, so I always keep a Bible in my car just in case. I'm like, I'm not gonna put on the spot again. I have my Bible on deck. So just different things, and then just being able to go to Justice Church with my family, and them being so welcoming, and then enjoying the experience, like that really matters. You know what I mean? So it's consistent, and that's God, because we serve a consistent God, right?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. When you are with the people that you're supposed to be with, the same attributes that others may find popular or unpleasing, like the people who are for you will see that in like a beautiful light, right? It's almost like saying that, I don't know, it's almost like someone who is a vegan going to fish, right? They can't appreciate catching the fish, right. But someone who is a fisherman will appreciate the gift of getting the fish, right? So when you're around the right people, those same qualities, and I thank you so much for like saying that, sure, that boldness, that, because some people see it as like, oh, she thinks she know it all.
Right.
And trust me, I don't know it all. I surely don't. And if you know me well enough, you know I don't know it all. But those attributes that the people who are meant to be in your life, they will see it as blessings. And the people who are not meant to be in your life will see it as negatives.
Yeah.
I think there's a sense of clarity that you get as you get older and as you mature in Christ. I think you realize like who's for you and who's not for you, and the reasons why, and it just becomes so natural to distance yourself.
Yes, and it's okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and clap. Because this last year, I think at the end of last year, you know, I had this conversation with Kendra, but at the end of last year, I started to realize like my circle, my true circle, is small. And I'm okay with that. I wasn't always okay with that. And I would extend myself to people and to places that I just had no business being in. But when you really recognize who is for you, there's like so much value in that. It's so much value in that. And it's like, man, you guys are
Yes, you live life differently, you walk differently, you strut differently, because you just know what you know, and you're okay. Like you said, you're okay with it. But also, it's like, it's refreshing, because then it's easier to say no.
Yes.
Because you're just like, I'm not going to be able to make it, sorry.
Not only is there so much value in that, but they value you.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Our lives be so busy. It's like we don't even have time really. And when you think back, it's interesting to me that the I can't say wasted friendships, but relationships I shouldn't have been in. I'm like, how would you even spending your time on that? You know, things that aren't intentional and don't add to my growth. Time is just too precious to spend it on people anyway who can't add to you in some type of way.
Right.
I don't know if this is on track, but how did you guys go about letting go of those who that you realized were not for you?
It's sort of like when people are not for you, it's like it's like they just fall off. It's like, what's that thing?
The umbilical cord.
The umbilical cord.
It just dries up and just falls off.
It literally just dries up, and it's literally like,
it drops.
That's it. It's like you don't need to do any work. You don't need to give explanations. You don't need to do. It just, and that's God.
But as humans in flesh who want that, sometimes we hold on to the cord that's already fallen off.
Right, exactly.
That's so good.
And we make it harder than it needs to be.
Oh, so much harder.
But that's why I always pray about God. I'm like, God, just remove the people that are not supposed to be in my life and help me be okay with that. Help me with the transition.
Right.
That's a good
help
part.
me with acceptance. Help me be okay with that. Because then we suffer like ghost pains, almost in a way, like of having that
too.
And growing pains. And it's just like we all know that saying, sometimes where God is prepared to take you, other people can't come.
They can't.
And that's weight. And like, I'm not trying to, you know, just like airlines, there's a baggage allowance.
You bet. Girl,
is that a word? You got an offering? Because I got $1.
You gotta have $1 for
Right. That's a whole sermon.
So no, because there's a baggage allowance, and it's just like I have my stuff, and I have room for my spouse that's coming on, and that's about it. You know, I'm already carrying my family and my circle, and I really don't have the time for it, because you're not gonna ever unload it. It's just gonna be there. You know what I mean? And even planes, at some point, the capacity, they'll tell you it's got to get off. You know, so it just feels like, for me, it's been the discernment of being able to just see that ahead of time. Like, you know what? I'm not even going to start this friendship.
Right.
You know, sometimes it just don't go past hello. I'm not going to extend my number, my social media, because there's nothing there. You know what I mean? Because I know it's going to be a parasitic relationship. You're just going to feed off of me. Yeah. And I don't have the space or the capacity to take that on. And it's just realizing, because I used to be a person that, you know, I'm a people pleaser, but I don't like people being mad or saying no. I'm a giver. You know? So, but then I had this like crazy mindset that people are like me.
Yeah.
You know? And so I operate like that.
Right.
They would never do that, because I would never do
that way.
Yes.
Jessica and Ruth are common in that way.
You know, they would never, because like
it's hurtful. It's hurtful when you
the realization.
Right, that realization, that wake up call, like, nope, that's not the way it is.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's a blessing in disguise, because when you realize, like you said, it's like when they fall off and then there's no phone call, like there's nothing. It's like, oh, did this person even care? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, again, it's like you have to learn to be okay with that.
Yeah. And then once you're okay with that, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And then you're okay with putting more, because I don't have the extra people taking from me, I have more to give to you guys.
Right.
You know, I have more to give to my family. I have more to give to God, because I'm not wasting time, you know, like being there and being in those places and doing those things, like Jessica said, where I had no business being, because I did not consult God. And that was another thing that made it easier for me, because I'm like, well, there's something God has for me to learn about this. What is it? Let me pick that up and then leave. And then just understanding that there's also seasons. A big seasonal thing. And some people are just seasonal. And stop trying to take them into your spring when they was just in winter.
Yeah. And one thing I'm learning currently, this is a current moment, like real time right now, that when God shows you something about someone, not only do you have to believe it, but that you have to not feel bad for letting it go. And I don't know if anyone else can agree, but just sometimes you don't owe folks explanations. Sometimes, you know, I'm so comfortable in the, you know what, let me explain myself. Let me make sure they understand. Some folks are not meant to understand. Sometimes, guys, I didn't ask you to go say that. I didn't ask you to go give explanations. You need to walk where I asked you to walk, and you need to let go of what I asked you. And you know, we talk about, like, sometimes I'm jumping, but we talk about being obedient with sex. Easy things that we read in the Bible, right? Like being obedient with sex, being obedient with other commandments or sacraments that God asks us to do, but like being obedient with the whispers of God. Like, this person is not for you.
Right.
Walk away.
I personally have been disobedient in that area, where it's like I just want them to get me so bad, or not necessarily. It's not acceptance. It's not a matter of acceptance. It's just a matter of, and I think that this is also the makeup of person, like not wanting the person to feel bad. It's not acceptance. Let's be very clear. But like, I don't want you to feel bad. I don't want to be that bad friend. I don't want to be that. Meanwhile, the person's not your friend.
Right.
Knock knock.
That's the word.
The person's not even your friend. The person's not even meant to be on this journey with you, and you feel so bad about you're parting with them. I have been so disobedient. I'm learning to be obedient very slowly. This is real life. This is true life. With like, okay, God, this person's not for me. How do I not care that they might look at me bad?
Right.
That they might be left with a version that is not true, but since it's their version and I'm not explaining, this is what they're left with. Swallowing that is real life. Because we talking about flesh versus spirit. Flesh is, I want people to understand me. I want people to be friends with me. I want, even if we're not as close anymore, I don't want it to be harsh. I want it to be this. And God is like, that's not what I asked you to do.
Right.
God is not concerned about that. God is concerned about you moving forward to what he showed you, and not and where he wants you to go. And sometimes we think about, okay, if I am celibate, then God will bless me with that. But there's blessing in just being obedient with who he wants. He can't bless you with who you have around.
Right, exactly.
Everyone cannot harvest the crop from the seed that God has sown and that you have watered. Everybody can't do that. Everybody can't be there. Everybody does not deserve that. And you're telling God, I'd rather wait for the crop to grow. I'd rather it be delayed to not make that person feel uncomfortable. That's what we're telling God. I'd rather wait for the harvest to be next season because we want this person around. That's crazy.
We have a tendency to minimize the mission a lot. And we have a tendency to be so narrow-minded. And that was why, just going back to the obedience thing, when I met Carl, and down to just like, God, should I text him back? I didn't want to waste not one more moment dealing with a situationship, growing feelings, and that's not what it was supposed to be. Down to a date, I said, God, do you want me to go on this date? When he showed up at my graduation party, and everybody was so shocked because God told me not to tell anybody, and I have no idea why, but I was just so fed up with wasting time. I'm like, God, I'm just gonna listen. Somebody maybe could have told me something, and I showed them a picture, and it could have made me second guess it. I don't know why, God. We have a tendency also to question God a lot, and it's just like, well, why can't it be? We don't know. And a lot of times, like Kendra said, like, God is not concerned with that. And he's not sometimes going to take the time to break everything down.
Explain to you.
You know what I mean? But when you are disobedient, you not only delay the harvest and you delay your blessings, but you could also be setting yourself up for disaster and don't even know it.
That's true.
By, being disobedient in those small whispers. And I think how I've been just going back to your earlier question, just how I've been letting go of relationships. I have a lot of associates. I don't have a lot of friends. I think that it's just easy for me to, I'm not saying this is the right way because it's not, but I'll just like not text back, or it's just like slowly, it's just because we don't have much to talk about. And like I said, I know I'm not saying that this is a healthy way, but because I just get so disinterested when it's not feeding me, I get so disinterested in it. It's hard for me to even fake it at this point, especially this year more than ever, because God is just really moving me in certain places. I just don't even have the energy to fake something or to make time for you. And God is just like, we're not doing that anymore. We're off that. You know what I mean?
I think you also have to kind of take the lead from God and just say, maybe that's not God's plan for that person's life, for me to be in it. You know what I mean? Like, this is his plan for me right now. And this is his plan for them. And that means because we're moving in different places. Yeah. So because I find that in one of my friends, because I'm such a supporter, I always want to run and help. And then God revealed to me, she needs my help, not yours.
And you're a hindrance.
Because I'm an enabler. And what she needs is she needs to turn to God. You know what I mean? So it's like, but I keep stepping in. So I'm always going to be there. There's no need for her
to know who God is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Become her God.
Right.
And it's like, all right. And that's so hard when you want to help somebody and you can, but God's telling you, fall back. Let them have their come to Jesus moment. Because they need it, just like you needed it. And now's the time. So stop. And that's really hard because in our flesh, we never want to see anybody suffer, especially somebody we care about. You know what I mean? But it's like, just like I had to really get to my lowest in my spirit to really like press into God. That's what he's calling for her. And I see that. So I have to be and all I can say is, you need to pray. Like, you should pray. Here, let me send you something, God. And just encourage her in that way, and the same thing has happened, with one of my siblings. I just felt like, with his situation, I'm like, there's no God in it. That's why it's not working. And how do you say that to people who are non-believers without them feeling like you're a Bible thumper? You're always talking about this guy. You're always talking about, I'm like, but that's all I know. Because like, that's my source. That's what I That's how I can help you. There's nothing else. You can go to all the counseling you want. You can do everything you want. But if you guys don't learn the basic standards of like how you should be loving each other, there's nothing that anybody can tell you that it's going to work. You know what I mean?
Side note, I always wondered that about therapists who are Christians who don't specify that they're Christian therapists. Mm-hmm. I was like, how, when you listen into a situation and you letting somebody spend all that money and you know the source of their problem is just like, you need Jesus. But then it's like, you can't even tell them so that. Funny. I always wonder, I'm like, how do they even work?
Right, that's so funny that you bring that up because, you know, I will be a licensed therapist very soon.
Yes.
And that is one of the struggles that I've had because I don't want to necessarily label myself as because you have the option to do so. You have the option to be a Christian therapist, right? I mean, I am a Christian, so I will always be a Christian therapist, but you have the option to be labeled. So if someone's seeking you out, they will specifically seek you out for Christian counsel. That is not necessarily what I want to do. Like, I don't necessarily want to talk Bible in my therapy sessions. However, I do believe, and this is something that I'm still talking to God about, but I do believe that as a Christian, you are still the vessel, right? And so without even saying, like, someone should know you're a Christian without speaking the word Jesus, right? So your actions and even in the things that you say, you can still bring Jesus to that person without necessarily having to speak Jesus. Now, don't get me wrong. There will be some things that will come against my faith, right? And I have come into contact with some of those things where I have had to say, like, I can't counsel this person. Like, I can't, because you're specific. I mean, this person is a client, right? So someone's coming and seeking services for something specific. And if what they're seeking services for is something that goes against my faith, I can't help you.
Are you allowed to like, it has to be acceptance on both sides, right? So the person has to like you to continue, but do therapists have the power to say, well, I don't want to?
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, you want to do it in a tactful way too, because obviously, you know, that person is coming in with a need, right? But there's nothing wrong for you to say, you know, I don't think that this is the best fit, right? And for you to be able to refer them to someone else that would be better suited for them.
Okay.
See, guys, this is why you need a tribe. This is just a little taste, literally, just a little taste of the type of conversations we have when we link up. And it's like this all the time. It's so, I just leave so full every time we come together. And I mean that in a very real way. But thank you, ladies, so much for joining me in this episode.
Our pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Soon. I'm going to invite you guys back, and I hope listeners, you got some type of information and some type of encouragement to definitely seek God about having a tribe and just people. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be multiple people, but even just a single person, having someone close to you that is that safe place and that can relate to you on, you know, all levels, that you can find just everything, just a one-stop shop. It's a blessing. It's rare. You can't treat everybody like that. So just be very cautious. Don't think everyone who comes into your life that's their purpose, because it's not. So just be very mindful of that and seek God about it. And thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you more.